Come the wild, wild weather, come the wind, come the rain, come the little white flakes of snow, come the joy, come the pain. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I thought I would start this before midnight, but naturally I was picking a splinter out of my foot and pooping and stuff, and we've already lost. I don't know. We've only got like 10 minutes left till midnight, so maybe this will be shorter. I don't remember what happens if we go over midnight. I guess we'll see. But we're just gonna go for the 15 minutes and see what happens. Anyway, that song was "Come the Wild Wild Weather." It's written by Noel Coward, I suppose. I guess it was first performed, it says here, August 8th, 1960. But I know it from one of my favorite actresses, singers, who I haven't listened to in a while, but that would be the lovely Miss Sutton Foster. Maybe I will play a moment of this from her CD, and we'll just cross our fingers that Google, or YouTube rather, doesn't pick up and the copyright infringement. If it does, I will not. She can have her money. Believe me, I'm happy to give it away, but let's just be a little sneaky here. I really shouldn't be sneaky. I always said when I'm going to have a YouTube channel, I'm going to be really ethical about copyright and that kind of stuff. Not going to use, but am I faltering or am I on the right? What do you think? Who's to say? It's just that when you think about music, okay, we'll talk about it in a second. Let me just steal this music for a moment.
Come the wild, wild weather, come the wind, come the rain, come the little white flakes of snow, come the joy, come the pain.
Okay. Whatever. I guess we can talk about copyright. As usual, I had no idea what I would talk about, but we found a subject already. Never underestimate the ability to find something to talk about, I suppose. Yet isn't it funny how when we're stuck with someone we don't know that well for a long period of time, and we feel like, what are we to say? What are we to say? Well, I suppose there's ways around that, but anyway, music's kind of interesting because, well, there's just no fine line. And when you start looking into like copyright, legal ease, what's the word? I don't know. That field of study. I'm sure you just find out interesting things about like monetary things and I guess songs. But maybe you've heard about those lawsuits where people steal songs and there's like secret little recording artifacts that give away that kind of stuff. It's just obviously, I don't know. I mean, music in the West, we've got what, like the 12 notes, and I mean, you got different instruments and timbres and other things. Then you've got different rhythms and blah, 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 blah. But at some point, if I like sat here and said, this is my song, boo, 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 and then I'm like, boom, automatically that's like copyrighted artistically, and what if someone steals it, and like, but it's like so short, and it was just like, I don't know. There's a sense, I suppose, that people have, I suppose, I don't know this for sure, but like the same kind of people who are into like free code and stuff like that, open source kind of things, who probably think that like music should be free in a way. Obviously, you got to reward the people for like the hard work who I guess write the songs and the studio equipment, all the microphones and that. And I guess the music industry has changed. I'm not really going to talk a lot about the music industry because I'm not in it and I don't know much about it, and frankly it's a little boring. But so the point is just that there's a fine line between like that little boo-doo-boo-doop song I just sang and like what if it was only 2 notes long or 1 note long, or then it's just and so the idea that like music is just vibrations and in the air, and like maybe that should just not be monetized. Maybe we should talk about money, period. Let me say one other thing before we start on money, and that is the title of the show comes from a musical called My Fair Lady. That's all I was going to say. So, money. And now there's a lot to say about money. There's a lot to say. people have said a lot of things about money ever since probably we could start reading things. In fact, I remember reading that some of the earliest like clay tablets in like ancient Babylon are a system of just like debts. And that isn't quite a bad thing, debt. I don't know if you can hear me. I know we have our handy fan going in the background. And if I didn't do this live, I could very easily cut that out quite quickly with Adobe Audition, that background noise. But, alas, Adam is stubborn and we're doing this live and the background noise is there. But debt, D-E-B-T, wasn't that awful. I mean, you've got your hunters who are like hunting gazelle or whatever animals live in the Fertile Crescent of modern day Iran and Iraq and such, and you've got like farmers who are growing wheat and whatever else, barley maybe. Anyway, so naturally, maybe the hunters are hunting like in the winter and the farmers are farming in the fall or something, and so there's no food, so the hunter says, hey, here's some clay tablets, we'll put them in the temple over there, this is like the debt. When I hunt, I'll give you some of my buffalo. I guess there weren't buffalo, I don't think, in the Fertile Crescent, but I think you get the idea here. The idea was the debt served to exchange monetary value, like over a period of time when certain resources were more available than others. Anyway, so some people have thoughts about debt coming first. A lot of it's because maybe that's how, like some Icelandic fella or something. Who knows what he is. I watched some video. It was a while ago. But then there's a fairly other common notion that debt evolved like during the, 15th, 16th, 17th centuries? Who knows? Like around Italy during like the Renaissance medieval period, I suppose. You picture like these sort of Venetian merchants who are funding these voyages, and sometimes ships crash and sink in the ocean, so you kind of got to like put up a lot of money for that, and there's a fair amount of risk, and people are lending money, and then they realize that they can sort of what we call nowadays fractional reserve banking, where you don't have to have all the money in your bank that you lend out. Like maybe you only got like $5 worth of gold in the bank, but you're lending out like $100, and you're just hoping, crossing your fingers, that everyone doesn't come to collect that $100 at once, because then you're screwed. You only got $5, but people only they just turn in $1 here, $1 there, and then you're safe. Unless you're not, in which case there's a bank run and you get, the Great Depression. But I wasn't going to talk about debt when I was thinking about money. Oh, I don't know. How long ago was it? 5 minutes ago? 3 minutes ago? No. Instead, I guess it's about, I do want to talk a bit somewhat. I do spend a lot of time thinking about money in the future, particularly, jobs and technological, there's a name for this. I guess it's called technological unemployment, which is basically the amount of jobs that are displaced by technology. We got 6 minutes. We can talk about this. This has been a worry for many people ever since the Luddites of, I think, England, hundreds of years ago. Maybe not hundreds, but 100 or 200 years ago-ish. Well, I'm no one for dates. I'm not one for dates. And so these people are, they're breaking weaving looms because they're going to put them out of business. And they did, really. But, you get weaving looms and then you get new jobs, right? Someone's got to repair the weaving loom, someone's got to make the weaving loom, etc., etc. The solar industry, people say that displaces a lot of coal jobs nowadays. However, studies show that, right, there's like more jobs in solar. And technology, the computer replaced a heck of a lot of human tasks, but yet we have got tons and tons of companies, all your Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitters, MySpaces, all your Microsofts, Apples, Googles, Babas, all those babies. Those, who would have thought when the computer first came out that those would be job creators? So some people think that technological unemployment, that is, again, jobs displaced by new technology, isn't something to worry about. But I think there's more and more people, and people in Silicon Valley and elsewhere, who are saying, yeah, but maybe this time it's different, you know? Maybe we actually are running out of jobs, and we won't need that many people. So I always figure it like this. If you think about the future, and by the way, I will expect to write a blog post about this. You can go to musings.adambechtel.com. Maybe there's one there already. I don't think so, though. Suppose in the future, if you think about the future, you probably think we're not gonna have a lot of jobs that we have now, right? Because it's gonna be we assume that technology is gonna make our lives easier. Just think about these Star Trek futuristic. We're gonna have robots and everything's gonna be automated and blah 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 blah. And I mean, things are automated more so than they were before. Just look at food. I remember Warren Buffett likes to quote this. I don't know the numbers, but I mean, 100 years ago, 70% of the U.S. these numbers are just made up, but they're rough. 70% of the U.S. population it took to grow the food. That's how many people it took, and now it's 3% or something. So we just don't need. We got those big old $500,000 combines and other agricultural equipment. However, where were we? Something about jobs. But I do think about jobs, and I think about money and the future. But if you assume in the future that things are going to be much, much more different, and we're going to have far less jobs that we do now, that the kind of jobs say you're working at McDonald's or Taco Bell, that a machine's going to be able to, and kind of already can, cook up a burger, make it to order, maybe even better than humans. And with machine learning and that kind of stuff, things are just speeding right along. Jobs we thought were safe, like people diagnosing cancer and stuff, we find that machines are better at it than we are. Anyway, so you assume that someday things are going to be much, there's just going to be far less jobs than there are now. So you have to assume, therefore, that somewhere in between then there's going to be a fair amount of strife and struggle unless we get there, and we get there probably through politics and through action and all sorts of things, in a sort of safe, healthy, non-destructive and miserable way for people. And so if someday we're going to not have a lot of jobs, maybe we should start now. Anyway, in case you don't know, I'm a fan of universal basic income. Okay, next topic. Next topic. Someday it'll have to happen, right? Don't you think? Don't you think? All right. Maybe we'll save the topic of UBI or universal basic income for another day. I was just thinking about money. Sometimes you read people who say, what is money, why is money important? What does it mean? It's just a piece of paper. It doesn't have any meaning, and we apply so much meaning to it. It's just a little piece of paper, green piece of paper. For example, the dollar bill. Anyway, those people are ridiculous. That's what I say. It's stupid. Money is important. It does have an effect. Sure, it's not important. I'm not saying money is important. It's a very powerful tool. Let's just say that. But the fact that we do apply value is important. The economy functions on that. And you think people, they always say people wouldn't need money to buy things, but I think there are a lot of people who wouldn't do the work they do if they didn't make money for it. I'm talking about the guy or lady who grows your watermelon that you buy in the store, who's going to keep the store clean, who's going to deliver it, the truck driver going to drive the watermelon, blah 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 bing. Just in the watermelon alone, there's a lot of money changing hands, and so it's ridiculous to just think that money is some made-up thing. It is made up, but it's very important made up. Just like things like liberty and justice, freedom are made up. They're not real, but they're very important, wouldn't you say? Anyway, I guess today was about money. We talked a bit about money. That's kind of handy because in the description of this thing I can put money. I was thinking I would go back after I'm done with these and fill out the description with 5 or 10 words or whatever. I know these are kind of all over the place, bouncing around a bunch of different topics, and I would just throw those in the description. If I had interns I could pay, they would do that. But I don't know. I certainly don't want these things to become a lot of work. I'm not sure if they'll stick around YouTube. I don't know. I worry sometimes about content quality, because the whole idea of these things are supposed to be that it's just kind of simple and easy and off the cuff and etc. etc. So I don't want it to evolve into too much work, but I don't know. I guess there's room for change and improvement. Change. The only thing that is certain is change, isn't it? So why don't we prepare for that? So go ahead and prepare for change in your life, and I will see you when things have changed. Okay.